the Aaron Hernandez story, the trial, all of it. I listened to a podcast that you were on, and you essentially got a call saying like, "Hey, can you stay in the Boston area and cover this scenario?" They didn't even know all the details yet. And when it comes to sports and news, this particular instance, sports was such a minute part of it. So how do you, I guess, approach that when it comes to covering a news story where sports really don't matter in that case?
Another fantastic question. First of all, I go all the way back to my education at Syracuse. When I was a freshman and a sophomore in the Newhouse school, I was like everyone else, chomping at the bit to get on TV. And at that point, they had student-run television station. It was called UUTV at the time. It is nowhere near the monolith that it is now. It's called Citrus TV now. They had great radio stations. I could go over the laundry list of sportscasting legends who went through the radio station at Syracuse. I was not one of those guys because remember, I didn't want to do play-by-play at the time, or I didn't think I wanted to do play-by-play at the time. So I took, even at Syracuse, I took a little bit of a different path than most traditional or orthodox careers that you would know about. But the one thing I did do, because I had to as a student there, I learned how to write and I learned how to news gather, whether I was going to be a news reporter or a sports reporter or an entertainment reporter. The basics, the fundamentals of gathering news and writing about it for broadcast remain the same. And they remain the same to this day, right? Keep it short, keep it simple, lead with the best thing you have. All of those elements that I learned as a freshman and a sophomore, and then into my junior and senior year in college, I attributed 20 years later when I got this Aaron Hernandez assignment. And it was awkward for me. I was working for the NFL Network at the time. And like you said, I got a call, "Hey, instead of flying home, could you go up to Boston?" I was like, "Okay, why?" "Well, something's going on with Aaron Hernandez. We're not quite sure what it is." Remember, at the time, the Patriots were the Patriots, right? It was Tom Brady.
Yeah.
They were winning Super Bowls. Aaron Hernandez was arguably one of, if not the best tight end in football. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. I get to hang with the best team in football, with this dynasty. Little did I know that I was going to be spending the next 10 days camped out outside of Aaron Hernandez's house. As it ends up, I was the first reporter on national television to have the story on the air when Aaron Hernandez was taken out in handcuffs. I had CNN to one side of me. I had Good Morning America to the other side of me. That was, as disturbing as the whole scenario was, I also knew in the back of my mind, this was going to be one of the most memorable moments of my career. And I just remember thinking, don't screw up the story. Just report the facts. I was not there to give my opinion. I was not there to color it in a way that it wasn't. All I was there to do was report the facts and give the latest updates that I was receiving. So again, to your point, I had to do things that I wasn't used to doing as a sportscaster. I had to go talk to police officers and detectives and be as enterprising a reporter as I could possibly be. You go into a clubhouse, and you know this better than anybody, Jess, a 162-game baseball season, halfway through the season, if not earlier, you are scrounging for fresh story ideas, right? It becomes the dog days of summer really quickly in a 162-game baseball season. Well, I had a story in front of me that I knew I had to cover, but I also knew everyone else was covering. So how was I going to make the NFL Network's coverage that much more compelling when no one was expecting that from the NFL Network? We are covering sports. We are not covering a murder investigation. So I relied on all the tools that I was given at Newhouse as a college student. And thank goodness I relied heavily on my broadcast writing skills. And I kept it short and I kept it essential. And everything worked out from the broadcast perspective for me, and got, really tremendous feedback on the job I did. Would I ever want to do that again? No. Absolutely not.